time. Singing through your body, and I'm carried by the sound. Every drum, every single beat, they were born from your body, and I'm carried by the sound. Oh, love will never break the shape we take. Oh, baby, let all them voices slip away. Don't look back, I wanna break free. If you never see I'm coming, you never have to hide. Take my hand, take my everything. If we only got a moment, give it to me now. Oh, love will never break the shape we take. Oh, baby, let all them voices slip away. Love will never break the shape we take. Oh, no, love will never break the shape we take. Oh, no, love will never break the shape we take. Oh, baby, let all them voices slip away.
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Hull City 1. Bolton Wanderers 0. The English League Cup. Ipswich Town 1, Coventry City 0. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Birmingham City 1, Bolton 1. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 3, Norwich City 2, Bolton Wanderers 1, Derby County. English League Cup. Bristol City 2, Newcastle United 1.
Dancing queen, young mind in the backyard. You've always been the king of it, playing hard. I know it, you're made of it, born with it. I know it, I know it. You rise from it, pray on it. I know it, you leave with no trace of it. It's the power of you, raining wild, beautiful. It's a fight in you. Wild heart, dressed in jewels. She on a mission, don't you know Ruby rules? Fire up, turn it back around. We can see you rising up above the crowd. You're far away, but we can hear you shout. I know it, I'm made of it, born with it. I know it, I know it. I'll rise from it, pray on it.
English Football League Championship. Hull City 3, Burton Albion 0.
It's the power of you, raining wild, beautiful. It's a fight in you. Don't go easily, please stay with me. We live so dangerously. Magic inside, you are a
English Football League Championship. Derby County 1, Hull City 2. Now let's see what effect that's had.
That's the power of you. It's a fight in you.
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 1, Middlesbrough 1. Bolton Wanderers 1, Sheffield United 1. Derby County 2, Ipswich Town 2. Fulham 2, Hull City 1. Leeds United 1, Birmingham City 2. Norwich City 2, Burton Albion 0. Preston North End 1, Cardiff City 0. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Millwall 1. Reading 3, Barnsley 1. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Brentford 1. English Football League Championship. Hull City 4, Sunderland 1. So what do those results mean to the league table?
If I tell you I'm coming, I'm probably not. You shouldn't have expectations. Just throw it in the fire.
English League Cup. Bury 2, Chelsea.
Just throw it in the fire. Just throw it in the fire. She's there when I need her, but none of it matters. Just another night before I go. Sleeps like an angel.
English Football League Championship.
But I stay up all night and think about how I'm just throwing it in the fire. Just throw it in the fire. Just throw it in the fire. Just throw it in the fire.
English Football League Championship.
Someone fill me up. Something that's not love. I need to
English Football League Championship. Burton Albion 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Cardiff City 3, Derby County 1. Hull City 2, Birmingham City 1. Ipswich Town 2, Bristol City 1. Middlesbrough 1, Brentford 0. Millwall 1, Barnsley 0. Nottingham Forest 3, Sheffield United 0. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 2, Middlesbrough 2. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 1, Hull City 0. Let's have a look at what those results mean for tonight's league tables. At the top of the table remain Wolverhampton Wanderers with 25 points.
I always need a hope that you're living like. I always need a hope that you're living like. Feels like it all ignites. You're never gonna live it right. Feeling right, living right. Never see you in the light. Feeling right and living right. Never see you in the light. Go, make you run for all your life. You're never gonna feel it's right. 'Cause I will never be through like nobody else. 'Cause I have faith in you like nobody else.
English Football League Championship. Burton Albion 0, Ipswich.
Take you high. Pick the wings that will take you high. Feels like they're way too tight.
English Football League Championship. Burton Albion 1, Barnsley 1. Cardiff City 1, Ipswich Town 2. Fulham 2, Bristol City 2. Hull City 2, Middlesbrough 0. Leeds United 1, Derby County 0. Norwich City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Sheffield United 1. Reading 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Millwall. The Football Association Challenge Cup. Barnet 1, Stevenage 0. Chesterfield 1, Newport County 0. Crawley Town 2, Notts County 1. Yeovil Town 2, Wycombe Wanderers 3. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Barnsley 2, Birmingham City 2. Bolton Wanderers 0, Norwich City 2. Brentford 0, Leeds United 1. Derby County 1, Reading 0. Ipswich Town 0, Preston North End 1. Middlesbrough 3, Sunderland 0. Millwall 2, Burton Albion 1. Nottingham Forest 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Sheffield United 2, Hull City 3. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Fulham 2. And let's take a look at what those results mean to the league table. English Football League Championship.
content be rising. Running through your galaxy, be enterprising. The mothers from a brother planet from the start. And we here to blow your mind with attacks to your
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Sunderland.
One more time, blow your mind all the way to the sun.
all the way. All the way, all the way, all the way. Stay alive, y'all. No cavities in sight. We just bite our way through the sweet taste of life. Calories to earn, to burn them off for hot night living. Seated near the chef on them spinning tables. A whispering moon with the tide rush. So she's old and the regret for being crushed. Her pride vanished cause I managed to manipulate. I got the best bait. Fishing ride with a planet attack. My gravity's unmatched. Her satellite sat in the light of sun position. Well cooked, we look to leave, leaving all others.
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 3, Ipswich Town 0. Barnsley 1, Leeds United 0. Burton Albion 0, Sunderland 2.
I got plenty, wrote hits with prime mates, made a lot of pennies. Performance in the galaxy makes a little with the fish to get your sharks to bite. We light years complete, y'all can call me Buzz. And can't one amongst you outdo the youngster. I must orbit every mic they hand to me. Circle around your heart, now let's start. Known for making moves on the bigger grooves, bigger shoes, about the size of canoes. Somebody pull their cell phone out, we on the news. Chill, this ain't about another crooked dollar bill, what the deal? Here in Parliament behind 10, inspect the fine print, check but not squint. Stare at the sun until you fall off. Even
The Football Association Challenge Cup. Blackburn Rovers 3, Chesterfield 0. Carlisle United 0, English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 4, Millwall 0. Barnsley 0, Derby County 1. Burton Albion 1, Preston North End 2. Fulham 2, Birmingham City 2. Hull City 2, Brentford 2. English Football League Championship. Birmingham City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Bolton Wanderers 3, Burton Albion 0. Brentford 2, Barnsley 0. Bristol City 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Cardiff City 0, Hull City 1. Ipswich Town 1, Reading 2. Leeds United 1, Norwich City 2. Millwall 2, Middlesbrough 1. Preston North End 2, Sheffield United 1. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 1, Sheffield United 2. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 0, Preston North End 1. Birmingham City 1, Norwich City 2. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. Bristol City 1, Reading 3. Burton Albion 1, Leeds United 1. Cardiff City 0, Fulham 2. Hull City 4, Derby County 0. Ipswich Town 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Middlesbrough 2, Bolton Wanderers 0. Millwall 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 3. Nottingham Forest 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 1. Let's see what that means for the league tables. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 0, Reading 2. Birmingham City 1, Leeds United 2. Brentford 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Bristol City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Burton Albion 1, Norwich City 2. Cardiff City 0, Preston North End 1. Hull City 2, Fulham 2. Ipswich Town 1, Derby County 1. Middlesbrough 2, Aston Villa 2. Nottingham Forest 3, Sunderland 1. Sheffield United 1, Bolton Wanderers 1. So what do those results mean to the league table? At the top of the table remain Wolverhampton Wanderers with 52 points. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 3, Bristol City 0. Bolton Wanderers 2, Hull City. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Burton Albion 0. Bolton Wanderers 2, Bristol City 0. Derby County 1, Brentford 2. Fulham 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Norwich City 1, Middlesbrough 2. Preston North End 1, Hull City 1. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Barnsley 0. Reading 3, Millwall 2. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Birmingham City 0. Sunderland 2, Ipswich Town 0. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. The Football Association Challenge Cup. Norwich City 1, Liverpool 1. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 0, Burton Albion 1. Bolton Wanderers 2, Sunderland 1. Bristol City 1, Fulham 3. Ipswich Town 2, Cardiff City 1. Middlesbrough 1, Hull City 1. Millwall 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Nottingham Forest 1, Reading 0. Sheffield United 1, Queen's Park Rangers 3. And let's take a look at what those results mean to the league table. At the top of the table remain Aston Villa with 62 points, with a game in hand on the team below. In second, Wolverhampton Wanderers with 61 points. English Football League Championship. Birmingham City 4, Barnsley 1. Burton Albion 2, Mill. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 2, Norwich City 2. Bolton Wanderers 0, Preston North End.
Warrior, my story glory bound, a warrior now. Amongst the poor, the sick and shut out where my story found.
English Football League Championship. Birmingham City 0, Middlesbrough 2. Cardiff City 3, Barnsley 1. Fulham 2, Sheffield United 1. Hull City 1, Millwall 1. Leeds United 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Norwich City 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Preston North End 3, Bristol City 1. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Derby County 2. Reading 3, Bolton Wanderers 2. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Ipswich Town 0. Sunderland 0, Aston Villa 0. So what do those results mean to the league table? The Football Association Challenge Cup, quarter-final. Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. English Football League Championship. Burton Albion 1, Bristol City 2. Cardiff City 0, Birmingham City 2. Hull City 1, Norwich City 0. Ipswich Town 1, Sheffield United 0. Middlesbrough 2, Barnsley 0. Millwall 1, Brentford 2. Nottingham Forest 2, Derby County 0. Preston North End 1, Fulham 2. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Sunderland 1. Reading 0, Leeds United 0. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Bolton Wanderers 1. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 2, Millwall 3. Birmingham City 0, Hull City 1. Bolton Wanderers 1, Aston Villa 1.
And I can't seem to find what I'm wanting. It's changing all the time, and if you notice a different side of mine, then I found what I've been looking for. Found what I've been looking for. I keep searching, and I can't seem to find what I'm wanting. It's changing all the time, and if you notice a different side of mine, then I found what I've been looking for. 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 Found what I've been looking for.
English Football League Championship. Barnsley 2, Bristol City 2. Brentford 4, Sheffield United 1. Cardiff City 2, Burton Albion 1. Derby County 2, Sunderland 1. Hull City 0, Aston Villa 1.
Wonder how many times can we rebuild on wasted ground? Divided, I'm sinking under. You're holding out your hand, trying to save me now. And oh my love, we got years and years of fighting over nothing. Help me lay these weapons down. Oh my love,
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 3, Reading 1.
pray that you won't let us drown. From fierce lightning times, and this has got me laid on the line. Wonder how many times can we rebuild on broken ground? I wonder.
English Football League Championship.
Holding out our hands, trying to save this now. Oh, my love, we got years and years of fighting over nothing. Help me lay these weapons down. Oh, my love, we got years and years of fighting over nothing. Pray that you won't let us down. Pray that you won't let us down. Pray that you won't let us drown. I don't wanna waste a night again, waging wars, breaking walls down.
English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Cardiff City 2. Bolton Wanderers 1, Millwall 0. Bristol City 2, Birmingham City 1. Burton Albion 0, Hull City 1. Fulham 1, Reading 2. Ipswich Town 2, Barnsley 0. Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 0. Preston North End 2, Leeds United 0. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Sheffield United 1, Middlesbrough 0. English Football League Championship. Aston Villa 2, Leeds United 2. Barnsley 1, Bolton Wanderers 2. Burton Albion 1, Derby County 2. Hull City 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Middlesbrough 0, Bristol City 2. Norwich City 1, Cardiff City 1. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 1. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Preston North End 1. Reading 1, Sunderland 1. Sheffield United 1, Millwall 1. And let's take a look at what those results mean to the league table. At the top of the table remain Wolverhampton Wanderers. The Football Association Challenge Cup semi-final. Manchester City 3, Brighton. English Football League Championship. Barnsley 2, Brentford 2. Burton Albion 2, Bolton Wanderers 0. Fulham 2, Sunderland 1. Hull City 1, Cardiff City 1. Middlesbrough 4, Millwall 0. English Football League Championship. Birmingham City 2, Fulham 2. Bolton Wanderers 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Brentford 1, Hull City 2. Bristol City 2, Sheffield United 0. Cardiff City 2, Reading 1. Derby County 2, Barnsley 1. Ipswich Town 0, Middlesbrough 1. English Football League Championship. Semi-final, first leg. Hull City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Leeds United 1, Preston North End 0.
Under condition, we on our way to the top. We got the blood at our fingers, we make the penny drop. Gotta get in and get out of the gate. I won't stop till I wake. I say it loud till I mean it. Talk like I be the Messiah.